Make the introduction a little bit longer, so we're gonna get a little bit more people to come in. Welcome to our final session before the closing note. So our next talk kind of goes back to our first talk of the today. Is also focused on XR and AI, and brings us really the convergence of several major shifts in technology: AI, spatial computing, connected devices, and intelligent agents. To help us think through this landscape, we've joined with by Taylor Schussler. I apologize. Terry Schussler. Terry is a senior director of next generation devices at Deutsche Telekom, where he works across wearables, nearables, robotics, AI, XR, spatial computing, and connectivity. His work includes trend analysis, technical research, opportunity scouting, product evaluation, and business development, helping translate emerging ideas into real product and market opportunities. With a career spanning entrepreneurship, technology architecture, software design, writing, speaking, and training, Terry has consistently focused on how technology can create smarter, more meaningful forms of interaction and communication. We're so glad to have him join us today. Please welcome Terry. Yeah.
Thank you very much. As she said, hi everyone, I'm Terry Schussler, and today I want to talk about AI, spatial computing, and agents. Or said differently, how computing is becoming less something we open and more something that accompanies us. The short version of this talk is that we're moving from asking software for help to being surrounded by systems that can notice, remember, and act. And yes, the subtitle joke is intentional. If I'm going to talk about AI glasses, I felt morally obligated to make at least one bad sunglasses joke. Also, before we get started, one of the things that drives me nuts, and I do it myself, so I'm guilty, is watching people lift their phones up to take pictures of slides over and over again. The first thing I want you to do is lift your phone up to take a scan of the QR code, because there you can get the entire presentation and more. You don't need to be distracted by your phone. Scan the code, and then put your phone down, please, for the rest of the presentation. Well, unless, of course, you want to take pictures of me. Hey, you know. I'll actually show the slide, the code again at the end. So I'm going to move through this in 7 parts. How knowledge got democratized, why devices are becoming the interface for AI, the shift from reactive to proactive systems, what agents actually are, why memory matters, why vibe coding matters, and then what I think happens next. This is not a look at how smart AI is talk. It's really a talk about interface change and why the next interface may be less app-centric, more screen-centric, or less screen-centric, and a lot more context-centric. So the internet has become the largest accessible repository of human knowledge because of the creation of important technical standards. And that alone changed the relationship between people and expertise. Now, the important point here is that it's not just that there's a lot of information online. It's that access to useful information has become progressively cheaper, faster, and more ambient over time. First, you needed a library. Then you needed a browser. Then you needed a search engine. Now, increasingly, you just need intent. That's a pretty wild compression of friction when you think about it. Now, this is the step function change that I care about most. We went from the web as a giant library to search as indexing, to AI search as semantic understanding, to agentic browsers that can navigate and act across pages, and now toward coordinated agents on wearables. So the center of gravity is shifting from help me find something to help me get something done. Search is becoming action-oriented, and wearables are pushing that action layer closer to real life rather than keeping it trapped inside tabs. Now, we talk about AI as if it lives in a chatbot window, but in practice, it's spreading into every device class that we already carry or wear: glasses, earbuds, rings, watches, pendants, and of course, mobile phones. I like to think of these not as gadgets, but as surfaces for AI. Each one gives the model a different set of senses and output channels. Some can hear, some can see, some can whisper, some can buzz. The watch taps you, the glasses show you, the earbuds talk to you. It's like building an Avengers team, but for notifications. Now, the reason spatial devices matter is that agents get dramatically more useful when they have access to richer context. Speech alone gives you intent, and vision gives you scene understanding. Location gives you situational relevance. Biometrics give you state. That combination is what turns AI from a very articulate answer engine into something that can act with timing. And timing is everything, because a brilliant answer 5 minutes late is often just trivia. Now, I included this quote because the future we're describing is not entirely new. The idea that a computer should continuously search for information relevant to your current situation goes back decades. What's new is that the hardware, models, and interfaces are finally catching up. In other words, we've had the idea for a long time. We just had to wait for chips, sensors, networks, and society to stop behaving like it was 1996. Now, this is one of the biggest conceptual shifts in this presentation. Reactive AI waits for a question. Proactive AI notices context, predicts need, and offers help before you explicitly ask. Now, that sounds small, but it's actually a giant UX shift. One is a tool you invoke. The other is a companion system that watches for the right moment. If search is about retrieval, proactive AI is about timing, judgment, and restraint. I love this example because everyone can feel the difference instantly. A reactive system answers your questions about completion dates. A proactive system notices where you are, what you might need, what the constraints are, and offers the next best action. That is much closer to how a good human assistant works, not by dumping facts on you, but by helping you make a decision in context. Also, if an AI can get me through La Sagrada Familia without me standing in the wrong line for 45 minutes, that alone might justify the entire industry. Now, what I'm describing here is not a louder chatbot. It's an orchestrated system with memory, awareness, and the ability to decide when to step in and when not to. That last part matters. The best proactive AI won't feel like a hyperactive intern trying to contribute to every moment of your life. It'll feel more like someone perceptive who knows when silence is the right interface. Now, I won't over-explain the demo because demos should do the work, but what I want you to watch for is not just whether the AI is clever, but whether the interaction feels appropriately timed, useful, and not annoying. That's the standard I care most about. Not can it respond, but would I actually want to live with this behavior? Let's see, there we go.
Nice to meet you, Terry. I'm Magenta AI, your personal assistant. I see you're looking at the movie poster. Would you like me to tell you more about it, or would you prefer I explain how these glasses work?
Actually, I would like you to tell me about these shoes that I see in front of me.
The Love Magenta sneakers. What's your favorite color and shoe size? I can check availability for you.
My favorite color is always magenta. Do you have magenta sneakers with magenta shoelaces?
Yes, we absolutely have magenta sneakers with magenta laces. They look fantastic. What shoe size are you looking for, Terry?
My shoe size is US 11. But you know what? I'd be really interested to see if there's those sneakers are available in blue with the magenta laces.
Certainly, Terry. We do have the Love Magenta sneakers in blue with magenta laces. I'm showing them to you now. We can check availability for your US size 11 in this color combination.
Okay, so this is the classic definition, and I like it because it's still surprisingly durable. An agent perceives through sensors and acts through actuators. What changes in 2026 is the richness of both sides. Sensors are no longer abstract. They're cameras, microphones, wearables, location, environment. And actuators are not just robotic arms. They're speakers, screens, haptics, apps, and delegated software actions. Now, one of the least sexy but most important points in the whole presentation is this. Good agentic experiences are architecture problems. They depend on putting the right model at the right level of complexity in the right place. Some things must happen locally for latency and privacy. Some belong on a phone or puck. Some still need the cloud. If you try to do everything in one place, you either get bad UX, bad cost structure, or both, usually both. Quantization is a big enabler here. It shrinks models enough to make them viable on device without completely lobotomizing them. That lets us reserve the biggest, most expensive models for the decisions that actually need them, instead of burning cloud cycles on recognizing a stop sign. Now, we're watching the category expand very quickly, so the numbers are just rough estimates, but I want to be precise about the distinction here. A chatbot mostly responds. An agent is trying to accomplish something using tools, memory, and reasoning. That means the important design question shifts from how do I ask better prompts to how do I define goals, permissions, memory, and recovery when things go wrong. Because things will go wrong, very confidently sometimes. Also, take note of how important standards are in driving growth. This is a recurring theme. See? Standards and how much that changed. Okay. If proactive AI is the behavior layer, memory is the substrate that makes it personal. Without memory, AI is trapped in permanent amnesia, which is a terrible personality trait for a supposedly helpful companion. With memory, systems can adapt over time to your preferences, routines, and context. But the real unlock is not just memory, it's user-controlled memory, portable, across agents and devices. This is where things get infrastructural. If memory becomes a core layer, then interoperability, permissioning, and portability become strategic design issues, not side features. In other words, the future is not an AI that remembers me. It's a memory layer I can trust, govern, inspect, and carry with me. Otherwise, we're just rebuilding platform lock-in, but this time with even more emotional intimacy, which is not ideal. Now, for this demo, the thing I'd ask you to look for is continuity. Does the system feel like it's building a relationship with the user over time, or just replaying stored trivia? Good memory should feel useful, not creepy. It should reduce repetition, improve judgment, and make the interaction smoother. If it feels like it's showing off how much it knows about you, that's usually a design failure. Or an internet failure.
Hey Noah, which vitamins did my wife want me to pick up?
Your wife wanted you to pick up fish oil and magnesium vitamins.
Is there anywhere close by that I can pick those up?
Yes, the Costco in Northridge is about 3 miles away and carries both fish oil and magnesium vitamins.
Is it a good price?
Online sources suggest Costco generally offers competitive prices, especially for bulk purchases.
Great, thank you.
This is the reality check slide. None of this matters if people don't trust it. Proactive AI is inherently more invasive than reactive AI because it has to observe, infer, and sometimes act without being explicitly summoned every time. So capability is not enough. Trust has to be broad, durable, and earned through transparency, controllability, and reliability. The fastest way to ruin a promising proactive AI product is to make it feel manipulative, leaky, or weird. Now, embodiment changes expectations. Once an AI has a face, a voice, and conversational turn-taking, people stop evaluating it like software and start to evaluate it more like a social actor. That raises the bar significantly. If the interaction feels awkward, fake, or emotionally off, users notice immediately. Humans are brutally efficient at detecting uncanny nonsense. Now, before I run the demo, the frame rate may be a little slow. Originally, when you run it in the presentation, I hacked this thing into my presentation. So use the link in the presentation to go see the demo at full speed, which I'm going to try to run now. Oh, of course. Now it's doing something malicious, checking. I just tested this like literally 3 minutes ago, so let's try again. If for some reason it made me refresh. If it doesn't work, we'll skip it. Yeah, this is new. They literally just put this in the last 15 minutes. Okay, so let's try one more thing. Let's see if I can run it in here, but I think it's going to get blocked. If it doesn't work, it's just the way it is. No, yeah, it's blocked. All right, so the website link is Tavis.io, and it's a really cool demo. Basically, you're going to talk to Charlie. He'll see you through camera. So we have a video-to-video interface with an agent. He can see what I'm wearing. He can see what's in the background. He pretends to be trapped in an Apple IIe from 1985. It's quite hilarious. So unfortunately, the demo itself's not running, so we'll just have to move on without it. I gotta go close Windows here. Which browser window am I on? There we go.
Just like a real person doesn't want to pick up the phone anymore.
Yeah. I might have to jump back in my presentation the hard way. There we go. Oh, by the way, this entire presentation isn't a presentation, it's an app. And we'll talk about vibe coding in a bit. But I vibe coded this whole thing. I vibe coded it before I left for California. I vibe coded it on the plane the whole way. I vibe coded it while I was sitting in the audience, adding some additions based on somebody else's presentation. So you'll see some things added to it in the very near future as well. So there we go. We'll just skip back to the next slide. Speeding along here. Okay. I use this quote as a pivot point. If we want to predict the future of interfaces, we have to build them, not just debate them on panels or post about them on LinkedIn with the word paradigm in all caps. The next interface layer will be invented by people who are willing to prototype new behaviors, not just new apps. This is why vibe coding matters so much in this story. Natural language is becoming a way to specify behavior, UI, and interaction without requiring everyone to hand author the whole stack. That doesn't eliminate engineering. It changes who can participate in interface creation. More people can prototype. More people can personalize. More people can build spatial experiences that would never have made it through a traditional product pipeline. The deeper change is that intent itself is becoming an interface primitive. Instead of writing every component and flow explicitly, people can increasingly describe what they want and then refine from there. For spatial computing, that's especially important because the design space is still fluid. We don't yet have a settled grammar for all of these experiences, so natural language becomes a powerful directing tool. Now, this is my synthesis slide. The path to augmented intelligence is not one breakthrough. It's a stack convergence. Spatial standards, remember I talked about standards before. Agent interoperability, memory and trust layers, orchestration, and then finally compelling user experience. When I say augmented intelligence, I don't mean magic. I mean an ecosystem where AI becomes a practical companion, advocate, and ombudsman across devices that understands more of our context. Now, if there's one idea I want to leave you with, it's this. The next major interface shift won't be smarter software. It'll be software that can perceive, remember, coordinate, and act across the spaces and the devices around us. And if we do this well, the future of AI won't feel like talking to a bot. It'll feel like having better cognitive support woven into everyday life. Thank you, and I'd love to keep the conversation going. I'll also mention there's 4 QR codes here. So the one on the bottom left, which is, let's see here, this one is the presentation itself. This is connecting with me on LinkedIn. This is my vibe coding for XR presentations, which I've done at AWE, which Ori graciously mentioned in his talk. And this is the XR Guild library. So I'm a co-founding member along with Avi Barziv and others for the XR Guild, and I highly recommend you take a look at the library. We cover a lot of topics around ethics and standards, and everybody should be aware of these issues and participate, at least at reading the information, if not joining the guild itself, because it really is meaningful nonprofit activity. The other thing is this vibe coding for XR stuff is hosted on a website for another nonprofit that I'm part of called the Academy of Immersive Arts and Sciences, and we work to educate people on opportunities with the technology and sort of motivate people to be thought leaders within their own space. So again, thank you very much, and I'll take questions.
Thank you very much. Very appreciate. Yeah, I have a question. I mean, wow, the AI will bring quite amazing, unusual experience for us. But the problem is, after all, how we could go back to normal state to keep stability? Because like what you show, it's not very stability, right? Sometimes it crashes. So this is, I think, crashing for what design proposal for us. Thank you.
So I think what you mean by normal state, you're talking about mental state?
The mental state could be society, social state, could be political.
Yeah, so one way is I just took my glasses off, right? So now I'm right here with you. I'm just human to human. I use the glasses as a teleprompter and maybe other things, but in the context of interacting with other humans, I'm very real world first, even though I've been doing XR and VR for 35 years and AI for 42, I'm here with you. And so when I go and sit with somebody in a meeting or not a meeting, but like going to have coffee or dinner, I take my phone out and put it down, face down, turn it off. And I do it to make it visibly obvious to the other person that they're the most important thing in front of me, not my phone. I mean, I could leave my phone in my pocket, but it's a message. So, you know, we don't have to be slaves to the devices. We use the devices as tools In this proactive context, maybe we'll layer them more into the day-to-day interaction. And as Ori mentioned, it's about creating this sort of augmented experience, right? Superpowers, right? So I have this knowledge base that I can access. I have the power of semantic search of the internet available at any time. But you can just choose to not lean into it at any time to have that break. Yeah. Same way as like video gaming. You know, I might go 20 hours on a new game. I'm sure when GTA 6 comes out, nobody's going to be working for 3 days. But, you know, at some point you put that down. That's it? Yeah, we're out? Okay. Great. Thank you.